Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So today we have a very special tarot card reading, and this is for, and we're just going to use the first name S because this person has asked us not to use their name, and that's fine. So we'll just go with the first initial S. And so S would like to know, so S has been kind of in a relationship for a bit, but it's been more like a long distance relationship type situation, where this person hasn't really committed so much and the commitment level hasn't really been there. So because of that, things are kind of stagnant. So the relationship has just kind of been put more or less a little bit on hold. I mean, they still have contact with one another. You can tell that there's still feelings there for the other person. And we assume also reciprocating, on his end also. But the person has like trust issues when it comes to relationships, taking that leap of faith in order to be able to, um, you know, see what love has in store. That's kind of where this person is at. And this poor person, that's in the mix of all of this, really has feelings for this person. And, for like the betterment of a year or so, this person has really been kind of just really, trying to make this thing work, or trying to like, see what can happen in a positive way with it. So because of that, there's just kind of that. It's frustrating, it's frustrating probably on both ends, but really for the girl who, she wants to be with her guy, she wants to get that relationship moving forward, and she wants to see some progression, and right now we're not really seeing a lot of that, and so she's frustrated, she really wants him to, she's been there for him, emotionally and in other ways, but mainly emotionally and just, communication wise. But to see that reciprocation, it's been a little bit less than perfect. In other words, he hasn't really been reciprocating on the same level that she has been, is a good way of putting it. It's not that he hasn't stayed in touch, or that he hasn't, made himself available or communicated in that, or that he's completely disappeared off the planet or anything. No, he still has, he's still showing signs of interest, but he's also expressing himself and his feelings and how he feels about relationships in general. And, he's just, he's, he has trust issues. And so he's had probably some bad relationships in the past, and things have happened. But for her, she's like, okay, well, you can't just like do this forever. And, if you can't let one bad apple spoil the bushel. You got to like, take a leap of faith sometimes. You have to get out there and see what else is out there. You can't just say that one bad experience is equal or equivalent to another, to all other experiences. It's not necessarily that way. If we did that, if we gave up too easy, then, we wouldn't get very far on probably just about everything that we engaged in, activity wise. So we have to get things going. So we're going to do the reading now and just kind of find out what the situation is with all of this. Kind of like, she wants to know if he's really feeling this for her or not, so let's see what we got. Okay, so in the past, like with this situation and all, this is sort of an update to other readings we've done for S, but it's like kind of going it alone a bit, where we're just kind of connected, but kind of like trying to go on our own, or kind of like leaving the situation behind. We still got, a little bit of history back there, but it's sort of like just kind of inching away from things. And then we've got this work situation where, we're trying to get better at our job and trying to put ourselves in a better financial situation. I'm talking about the guy here. And so he's trying to do some self-improvement and, some personal development and things on that end. And that's currently what's going on with it. And in the end, well, I don't want to say the end. There is really no end. But in the near term and stuff over the next couple of few months, we've got this here. It's a 4 of Pentacles. This is a miser card. This is sort of where he's really like trying to hold on to his money, not go out and spend too much or not make hasty decisions, kind of in that direction where, he wants to feel a sense of security, a sense of safety. So he's kind of, focusing on the money right now. As far as the energy that's going on with right now, like with why he's doing his work and everything like that, and why he's kind of working on refining his skill set or trying to get himself in a better position right at the current moment. It's not just to hold on to money later on, like we see with the future. What is really the card that kind of magnifies kind of like the secret logic behind all of this? It's the Lovers. So, and this is, he's working right now to get to this so that he can be with his partner, that he can be with the person that he cares a great deal about, that he's falling in love with. And it's a process, of course. But that's where he's at. He wants to be able to take care of his family, take care of the people in his life that he cares about, and feel safe and secure knowing he's able to do that. And that's what the Lovers card is all about. That's magnifying that present situation right now. So he's got a reason why. It's like sometimes when we go to work or we start a business or we do something, there's sort of a innate motivation behind, us doing it. And that drives us, and that drive motivates us, creates passion. And for him right now, that driving force, that motivation is the Lovers card. So it's a person he cares about. There's someone in his life he cares about. And, assumably so, because we have S over here. And so that's the missing element. So that's the reason why he's able to really put his focus, his energy, and his effort into this, is because he has someone that he cares about, S. So, but as far as S goes, like with this situation, I mean, we talked about the frustration that's going on here. We see like where her feelings are, her emotional side of things are, like, come on, something's got to give. I'm giving. And then this person is like barely doing anything or, not really expressing or showing much anyway. And so that can be really frustrating for S. And so as far as she's concerned, where's kind of her situation with all of this? Like, what is she feeling? Like she's feeling this sense of kind of abandonment, or kind of like having to leave this situation, or maybe having to move forward into like more calmer seas. And that's really where this is at. So picking up the pieces and moving on. And that's kind of like where the thinking is, sort of, it's kind of like, I can't keep doing this forever. I can't wait on this person indefinitely. So, I'm really feeling frustrated. Like everything is telling me I should probably be moving on. And so that's kind of a hard position, especially given like we know where his situation is and where his mindset and thinking is. Like he wants to get this thing right and move this relationship into positive territory and to have a good relationship. But for him, it's a longer term process. For her, on the other hand, she's kind of at her wit's end, and she's just like, I can't just keep waiting, and, I just feel like so emotionally distraught because of this, and the emotions, we see that in this card because like we have this water here. That's this choppy water on this side of the boat. That's where we've been, and that's where we are right now. And we're going from here over to these other areas, to new land or less or calmer seas, we call it, in that kind of situation. So like with this here, it's like, I've been so emotional, this psychic energy, very emotional kind of stuff, feelings and stuff, all these kind of things are kind of up and down all the time, kind of back and forth. So it's like letting that go to, and it's conflictive, like we feel that conflict. And that's what the swords are all about there in the Six of Swords card. Now let's look at our outcome. So like, where does all of this really kind of take us and all? Like, what is really the necessary component? Like, so we have that problem, right? Now we need a solution to the problem. So what is a problem? Let's just reiterate that for a moment. The problem is that he's trying to get himself situated so that he's ready for the relationship, that he can take care of S and he can have a good relationship with her and feel safe and secure and knowing that everything is good, knowing that financially everything is well taken care of and so on and so forth. On the other hand, because of the distance of the relationship and this, him having to be someplace else, not necessarily around her at the moment, she's feeling this sense of like, well, I keep investing and stuff, but am I doing this fruitlessly? Like, I mean, am I wasting my time doing this? Should I be moving on with my life? And because of all these kind of things, there's a separation anxiety that happens. If we're separated from the one that we love, we do feel that sense of, it's a pain, and it's hurt, it causes that. And to avoid that is what most people tend to want to do. So the natural human tendency is to avoid pain in lieu of pleasure. So right now, she's feeling the pain. He's feeling the pain also of separation and all, but he's refocusing himself on the money and the finances and trying to get to the better place. He may be trying to expedite that, but given where he's at right now, don't really see that really going too fast into the future, like getting to where he needs to be at. But he is trying to focus in that direction. In the future, though, it's really kind of like holding on to what he's got, like trying to like not lose out on everything. In other words, not try to spend it on, just some whim or something like that. So those are the two problems, we have those kind of situations. So what would solve these problems? What would be like kind of the overall solution to it? What's really our answer? And again, we had the Six of Swords just then. Now we have the Six of Pentacles, and this is really the charity card. And you have people that's giving, and you have people that are taking, but both are very happy. There's no imbalance here. That scale is balanced for the most part. And you have the, 6 is a very balanced number, and also it's really about balance. And the people that are taking, the poor people in this image, they are very grateful. They're happy to be receiving something. It's like a nice blessing for them. On the other hand, the person doing the giving, they're also very happy. They're happy to be in a position, a more fortunate situation, and all to be able to give to those less fortunate. So by giving, that's really the outcome here. So how is it that she gets what she wants? It's maybe to be a part of helping that situation and get him to where he feels comfortable financially and stuff, to get to be able to come out and stay with her, or for them to, maybe get an apartment together or some kind of a living situation going on, whether it's in his location or whether it's in her location. I mean, it's, it's going to have to be, those are some decisions that will have to be made. But what we are noticing, like in the future, like moving forward and all, it's going to be this thing of whoever's in the better situation financially, who's ever, more capable and stuff, that has less to worry about. And so that person will probably be the giver and the other person will probably be the taker, but there won't be animosity. There won't be ill feelings or anything like that. There will be a mutual understanding, and one that is, not looked down. You're not judging one person as being like, oh, that person's a taker or this person's a giver. It's not going to really be like that. It's just going to be like, well, this is just what the situation is. And because they love each other, love is the high ground here. And so it's okay, for one person to give more than the other person. It's not that big a deal. It's a blessing. And in return for that, everybody benefits, and that's what this is really all about. Everybody benefiting. So what will be the end result with this situation? Everybody benefiting. So that's a good positive thing right there. What's the answer to everyone benefiting though? Like, how do we, what information do we need to know to see that come about? We could just say, okay, well, that's fair enough, but, give me a little direction here. Like, what do I need to do? Do I need to just, well, a lot of it is trusting your intuition. Like a lot of it is just sort of like already just showing you the card and giving you this information as, you're already kind of like the wheels are turning in the mind. You're already kind of getting some ideas. Some intuition is already starting to come about. You're starting to get a sense, and maybe even a little bit of excitement, a taste of excitement for a minute, because now things are starting, the light bulb is going off, and you're starting to get those ahas like, something's coming to me, and I didn't think about this. And now, so maybe this is an okay situation. Maybe this is a positive move for me or something. This could work. And you're starting to feel better about that situation. That's good. What's the answer though? Well, we have the answer card right here. It's 2 cups. 2 is all about balance, and it's also about relationship. And the answer is the relationship itself. If the relationship is good, if there's that mutual trust and that mutual understanding, if there's that shared responsibility, if there's that equality, equal sign, then the other things will work themselves out. The money will work itself out. The location of where you guys are at and how you get from one place to the other place will work itself out. And it will happen naturally. I mean, it's not something you're going to have to really force or anything. The only thing that you have to really maintain is going to be the glue. And what's a glue? It's this right here. The glue is really the relationship. It's that commonality, that shared partnership, that shared desire to be with one another, to love each other, to spend your life with each other, to partner up. That's what it's all about. And it's by keeping a balance there, we see it all the time, like especially with regard to relationships. Some people marry up, some people marry down. Some people are more fortunate than others. It's just karma, it's just kind of like our placement in life, so some people are like, well, you see, we have a tendency, like with material life, with materialism in general, actually, it's this idea that we become very attracted to things, and when somebody has more than us, we maybe feel a sense of like, how did that person get so lucky, and we feel a sense of resentment almost, or a sense of greed, and these are just natural human things, but it's not natural. It's natural in this condition that we find ourselves in, this materialism condition. That's the nature of material life. We get something and we want something even better. We make so much money and we want to make even more money. And it's a never-ending process, and it just kind of it follows us all through life. When is enough enough? We have a nice relationship, we want a better relationship. Like there's nothing ever good enough. So, that's the consideration that we have to make. In life, we do get to a place where we kind of make decisions. Then people sometimes, like they might find themselves, okay, I have a pretty good relationship, but then there's this other guy over here, or this other girl over here and all, and she seems like a better catch, but I don't know if I can get her or not, or I don't know if I can win him over. So they might attempt to try, right? Even though they got a perfectly good relationship person, they love each other, things are good. There's a good balance there. They're just dissatisfied. They want something else, and so they go and look for something else. And it's like, and then when they do finally get to, if they are able to win this other person over, they're like, that's interesting. I was able to win this person over. But who I always really had a crush on was this person over here. So maybe I'll go check out this other person. So they go and they do that. And it's just like, there's never any satisfaction. And really, the key is satisfaction. That's what we're trying to attain. And how do we get satisfaction? It's sort of eschewing that materialism in the first place. I mean, it's okay, to not be wealthy. It's okay not to have a zillion dollars in the bank. It's okay not to have a perfect model wife or a perfect, model husband. That's perfectly okay. If you're satisfied, everybody has different likes and dislikes. We're told by marketing messages all day long, from billboard signs, television commercials, to internet ads, you name it. We're told what high quality means, or what true value is, and what the standard should be. And because of that, we're constantly setting the bar higher and higher and higher and higher. But the reality is that it's an inevitable thing. I mean, you'll never reach a level of true satisfaction, because just as soon as something comes out and says, oh, this is a standard, 2 days later, something else comes out and says, well, that was a standard 2 days ago, but now we've actually got this other thing over here. It's even better. You got to check this out. So people kind of get this mindset, and that's where materialism is. It's about this never being satisfied. We're never quite happy enough with our situation. We always want something more, something better. And we chase it. It's like it's like the dog chasing the tail, thinking it's finally going to get it. Never happens, It's an endless pursuit. And that endless pursuit in the process is misery. So you think eventually I'm going to get happy. Well, the happiness is in the here and now of being satisfied with what we've got. So as a word of encouragement here, in terms of advice, or kind of what I'm just picking up intuitively, I would say that a conversation just needs to happen. And, a decision needs to be made before that conversation happens. I would say to myself, were I in your situation, I would say something like, okay, maybe I have the resources. Maybe I have the ability to move, or the ability to travel, or the ability to uproot, or this, that, and the other. Maybe I don't. But if you do, and maybe that where he's staying at is maybe not the place that I would ideally like to be, but it's where he is, and that's satisfying enough for me. So maybe, a good solution is just to travel, or to take a little bit of time to go and, spend a little bit of quality time with the other person. If it's possible. That may not be possible. And if it's not possible, that's okay too, because you can get to a place where it is possible. How do we do that? We take it one step at a time. It's like Rome wasn't built in a day. Relationships take time to kind of blossom and to come about. So, don't sabotage your efforts, grow in your efforts, So if you're emotionally distraught, if you're frustrated with the situation, it's okay. It's just time but what can you do? That's a question that we start asking ourselves. Well, what can I do in this situation? There's always a solution. There's always that silver lining. If this person's situation is not as good as your situation, so they're worried about like being able to take care of you, or being able to take care of the situation, or eventually maybe even coming over there, maybe they handle change very slowly, much slower than you do. That's true. Some people, we see evidence of this all the time. They're just more capable of handling change. Maybe their whole life or growing up, their whole situation was a constant flux, like just going from one situation to the next situation to the next situation. Another person, they may have grown up and lived their entire childhood, maybe even part of their adult life, in the same house, and they never moved. It's a very real situation. There are people like with military families, for example, that may have moved to different countries, and the call of duty called them to different places. And so they had to move here to this base or to that base. And so growing up as a child in a situation like that, there was that sense of instability. Like, I never know where I'm going to be. So I don't want to collect too much stuff, or, I don't want to make too many commitments with friends and things. So, you kind of become conditioned like that. Other people, it's like, well, we grew up in the same small town. We know all the people in the town. We know who our friends are and stuff, the people that we've grown up with, and you have lifelong relationships. You never leave the town. We have situations like that. These are all the kind of things that are considerations you have to kind of take into account when you're making these kind of decisions. If you really care about this person, and this person ideally really genuinely cares about you, they may have trust issues, but who knows, maybe it's just from their past or their history. Maybe, we have to kind of see things from their perspective also. At the same light, we have to, at the end of the day, just say, okay, I've made my decision. I want to be with this person. Okay. Now that that's fixed, and I don't have to question this person's motives, I don't have to question my motives, I don't have to question what I'm going to be doing in the next. It's now time to put a game plan together and say, okay. And the best thing I would recommend doing, if it's a possibility, now it may not be a possibility given personalities, temperaments, all these kind of things, or belief systems, or things can deviate from this being a possibility. However, if it is a possibility, the best advice I would say is talk to this person, get on the phone with them, and just say, okay, this is where you're at. This is where I'm at. We've talked before in the past when we said that we want to be together. How do we make that happen? But let's do it together. It doesn't have to be a you thing. It doesn't have to be a me thing. What can we collectively do? Let's like plan this thing out, have a game plan, plan it out, and have little benchmarks on that game plan. It's like a timeline. You just put it out and you structure it and say, okay, our first benchmark is this is where we'd like to be financially. So if you need to save up this much money, okay, try to have it done by this time. Do you think you can do that? And if so, how do you think that will come about? It'll give him something to work toward. On the same side, you say, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to try to, get my act together, and I'm going to try to save up enough money and put it in this account over here for this. Now, we know that where do we want to live at? That's another question. Do we want to live where you're at? Do we want to live where I'm at? Do we want to live in someplace altogether different? If so, what is the rent? What is the cost of living? All these kind of things. Find out what that is. You guys can do that together. It'd be like a couples activity or something, If the other person doesn't have time to really focus on it, maybe that could be something that you could kind of start to plan out. And you put that timeline together and you say, okay, well, we know the rent's going to be $1,200 a month. We know that this is going to be this expense. This is going to be this expense, internet, this. There's other considerations too, like are there jobs in this area? What kind of jobs? How much do they pay? How likely is it that you can get a job? These kind of things. You have that planned out also. And then you have a game plan strategy. Like if it comes down to moving to that location, you would need to find out like, okay, when do I need to start applying for jobs to get a job so that we can both move into this location? Will one person move to the location first before the other person? Now, ideally, it's probably a good idea if you're both of you moving to completely different locale. If both of you decide you're going to move there at the same time, that would be good. Also, there should be some interim periods of time where, given that this is going to be probably something that's going to take time, obviously you're going to want to spend some time together. And so that time together, because you're working this as a partnership, as a togetherness, a cohesive whole, not one person doing everything, but together you're both making the commitment together, a strong commitment together. What you can do is also plan some trips together. It's not that one person pays for the whole airplane ticket or the other person does or doesn't. If it's shared, if it's a commitment, both people kind of put together what they can, and it can be decided. One person may pay 2/3 of the cost of the airline ticket. One person may only be able to afford 1/3 or, $20 or whatever. But it's that shared thing of like, or maybe one person says, okay, well, I'll come visit you. I'll pay for the airline ticket, but can you, provide the hotel or provide us a place to stay or get a cabin on the lake for the weekend for us? Would you be able to handle that? If not, I can maybe give you some and, we can work it out. But, or you'll have a vehicle. Like when I get out of the airport, you could pick me up, right? Or do I have to pay for the Uber too? I mean, if one person is paying 100% for everything, and then this other person, they don't really have any kind of vested interest in it, that's not equal. You got to have some kind of like a give and a take. There's got to be that reason that this person wants to be with you and to show some kind of a commitment towards that as well. And so that's where you're kind of working it, but you're doing it in a systematic way, in a way that makes sense. And you're doing it over time. So that gives the time for the relationship to kind of, you can trust him more, he can trust you more. So as far as the trust part goes, that takes care of itself. And you've got a shared vision, a shared timeline of like when you want this to happen. So you talk about what the goal is, you figure out your likes and dislikes, and you figure out what would be probable as far as work goes. And then you kind of talk about it together. So if you put together the plan, you say, hey, look, I put together a plan for us. Would you mind looking at it with me? And together we can talk about it. And if you have any input, if you have any, anything you'd like to add to it, subtract from it, whatever, let me know. And together we can do this because I want to do this together equally. So anyways, there's that. I hope this helps. I mean, it seems like practical advice, a lot of it, but I think where this situation is at right now, what I'm picking up intuitively is that it's these practical kind of considerations. It seems like you guys have these conversations and it's like they don't really get you any kind of like anywhere closer to the end goal. And the thing is like, and you could be sabotaging it. He could be sabotaging it. Chances are you're both sabotaging it because, you get on the phone and it's that frustration you're both feeling like you're not there, or that it's just too far away, or it's too far in the distance, or that this is never going to happen, or that this person cares very little and I care so much. It's all these kind of like this monkey brain, this here conflict stuff that's going on. We saw the swords in there. So we know that that's definitely there. But it's about like just, okay, fair enough. Let's work together. That should be your mantra. Let's work together. And I think if you do that, you guys will be very happy and very successful, and things will work out really well. The cards actually say that. I mean, that we just saw that in the tarot card reading. So the outcome is a pretty good outcome. I mean, I see you guys being together, having a good time, but you gotta plan it. You know, this is one of those kind of situations where there's a lot of different variables involved, things that have to be considerations, and it has to be methodically planned out. And if you do it methodically and you plan it out, and you know what you're willing to give, he knows what he's willing to give, no judgment or anything like that, but you're doing this together as a partnership, I think you both will be pleasantly surprised and pleasantly happy with the relationship. And it will teach you things about each other along the way, so that when you are finally living together, living day to day, sharing these great experiences together, you know, you guys will already have a pretty good foundation already established. And that will be really important for keeping that relationship together long term, long into the future. So anyways, much love and many blessings. Guys, if you like this channel, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you get notifications. If you guys have questions or whatever when we come on, you can ask those questions. We'll be happy to get back with you and answer those questions and everything for you. If you'd like a tarot card reading, if you'd like some spiritual direction, if you'd like a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, it's one of the spiritual texts that we read, you're more than welcome to check out all the information in the description below this video. If you'd like to donate to help support this service, you're more than welcome to do that. Also, you just go to helpbydonating.com. It really helps us monks to be able to, you know, do our service work, help people in real meaningful ways, and to share love for God with others. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge.